The narrative begins with the mechanical paradox of the North American T-6 Texan, a machine that was designed to be intentionally difficult to master. We explore the pilot-maker scandal. Unlike modern trainers that forgive amateur mistakes, the Texan was engineered with sensitive ground handling and a notorious stall-spin tendency. This was a symmetry-breaking philosophy. The aircraft served as a brutal filter for the Allied air forces. If you could survive the illegal ground loop of a Texan, you were deemed worthy of the P-51 Mustang or the B-17 Flying Fortress. We analyzed the genius of the radio, detailing the 600 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R1340 Wasp engine. This power plant gave the aircraft its signature acoustic terror and a legal growl produced when the propeller tips surpassed the speed of sound during takeoff, creating a sonic snap that could be heard for miles. We break down the physics of the steerable tailwheel, showing how the plane's narrow landing gear and high center of gravity made every landing a high-stakes gamble for student pilots. Then we break down the industrial ubiquity, how North American aviation created a modular masterpiece. By using a forbidden versatility approach, the same airframe could be configured with fixed machine guns, underwing bomb racks, or advanced radio equipment. We look at the global audit, showing how over 15,000 units were pumped out across 3 continents, becoming the classroom of the sky for every major ace of World War II. The segment concludes with the transition terror, examining the psychological leap students made from the wooden biplanes of the primary phase to this screaming metal Commando plane, the final gatekeeper between a civilian and a combat aviator. This segment pivots from the classroom to the accidental combatant. We explore the symmetry-breaking moment when the T-6 ceased being a trainer and became a frontline insurgent. We detail the illegal up-armoring, how desperate air forces in the Korean War and the Algerian War bolted on .30 caliber machine guns and underwing rocket rails to a frame never intended for high-intensity sustained fire. We analyze the physics of the forward air controller, FAC, how the Mosquito pilots used the T-6's slow-speed loiter capability to dive into valleys, mark targets with smoke rockets, and guide in heavy jet strikes while under intense ground fire. We break down the acoustic camouflage, how the Texan's distinctive roar was used as a psychological weapon, mimicking the sound of more powerful fighters to keep enemy infantry pinned down. We examined the mechanical resilience of the airframe, which could take high-G maneuvers and small arms fire that would have shredded more delicate reconnaissance aircraft. This section details the guerrilla evolution, where the pilot maker proved it was equally adept at being a pilot killer on the battlefield. The act concludes with the internal ballistics of the T-6's combat sorties. We look at the fuel-to-fire ratio, how the aircraft's endurance allowed it to stay over a target for 4 hours, providing a constant, forbidden presence that modern jets, with their high fuel consumption, simply could not match. We reflect on the transition of the Commando plane from a tool of education to a tool of execution. The final segment of our industrial audit explores the kinetic transition of the T-6 Texan, where it ceased being a classroom and became a frontline executioner in the forbidden wars of the Cold War era. The coin revolution, low-level lethality. We begin with an 8-minute deep dive into the counterinsurgency coin evolution. We analyze the symmetry-breaking tactics used during the Algerian War and the various bush wars across Africa. We detail the illegal up-armoring, how the airframe was modified to carry underwing Matra rocket pods and .30 caliber machine gun pods. We examine the physics of the loiter. Unlike high-speed jets that burn through fuel in minutes, the T-6 could stay over a target for 4 hours. This created a forbidden presence on the battlefield, allowing pilots to hunt insurgents with sniper-like patience. The Mosquito Protocol, Forward Air Controllers, FAC. We analyze the tactical suicidal nature of these missions. Pilots flew the unarmored T-6 at treetop level to draw enemy fire.
Once the enemy position was audited by muzzle flashes, the T-6 pilot would mark the zone with smoke rockets. We break down the acoustic communication, how these pilots coordinated massive strikes from F-80 Shooting Stars and F-4U Corsairs while dodging intense small arms fire in a trainer aircraft. Cinematic subversion, the zero illusion. The narrative shifts to the mechanical deception of the post-war era. We explore the Tora engineering, how Hollywood used mechanical modifications to turn T-6 Texans into Japanese Zeros and Kates. We analyze the symmetry-breaking silhouette changes, including lengthening the fuselage and reshaping the tail. This created a visual myth. For decades, the public's perception of the Mitsubishi Zero was actually the mechanical soul of a North American Texan. Mechanical immortality, the Reno air race scandal, where the T-6 is pushed to its absolute structural failure limits. We examine the illegal horsepower, how racing teams stripped the airframes and tuned the Pratt & Whitney R1340 engines to produce double their original output. We analyze the G-force symmetry. The T-6 class at Reno is considered the most competitive and dangerous in the world, requiring Commando-level reflexes to navigate the pylon turns at 250 miles per hour, just feet from the ground. The video ends with the global legacy. We look at the thousands of flight-ready Texans still in existence, a mechanical resurrection that keeps the $15,000 unit legend alive. The final shot is a cinematic formation of Texans over the desert, their prop tips breaking the sound barrier in a final, defiant, acoustic growl.